Hello everyone, this is Model Wings and I'm back with another unboxing. Today is the 1 to 70 scale special hobby Blackburn skua Mark II, and this is for the Norwegian campaign. There have been two boxings, I believe, of this kit, or at least two different colour scheme boxings. We have the silver versions, which is easier to come across. I believe it comes without the upgraded pieces, but this one is probably better. Comes with resin engines and probably the best part, photo etch. Now I will quickly show you the sides, just giving you some information. On this side shows the box art. Once again, box art on this side. And on this side as well. Now, I want to do this one because it doesn't seem like many people have got their own unboxing of this. I think there's one person who did it, but they're speaking in a foreign language, and they've also cut all the bits off the sprue, and so you don't really get an inbox review because it's all separate and you don't get a look at the sprues. I will be doing another one of the Mark A Whippet, but I've taken a few bits off as a dry fit, so that'll be a problem if you want to watch that whilst all the bits are on the sprue. So we have these sprues. This is the elevators. Am I right? Yeah, I think those the elevators. Let's see, we got the prop. Got some supporting bits maybe for the undercarriage. We have the floor of the interior. We have a bulkhead. We have these two. I think these might be two halves of a fuel tank. There are fuel tanks in between the two crew positions. I have a control panel and another one. One's going to be for navigation, probably. We have the part of the arrestor hook, another part of the floor. Same here. Actually, that's probably part of the bulkhead there. And then we have two parts of the engine. I'll flip it over quickly. Not really anything inside. We have these two landing gear covers. And then we have these two wheel bay parts for the tyres. We have this wheel, which is much better than the old Frog/Novo one. I think it's on my floor somewhere. I encountered it. It's just like a ball, so I replaced it with something from the old FX Blenheim. We have this part, which is for the fuselage to put the arrestor hook in. We have the other parts of the. We have the other fuel tank. So not too bad. First sprue. Second sprue is a bit more open. We have the cockpit. The two fuselage halves with cockpit detail. That's what I meant to say. Very nice, I think. I think it's very good. We have this throwing arm for the bomb. It says this was designed as a dive bomber. Probably another part of the interior. I'll have to look in the instructions. Maybe this is the pedals and the machine gun. Oh, we have these, which are 3 barrels, which are very nice. Then we have the seat padding. Very nice. Sorry if the camera, if the pieces are wonky on screen. I'm just meaning to, I'm seeing it. Well, the phone's higher up than my eyes, so I'm trying to see from below here. It's hard to see what sort of angle we're looking at. So Let me stand up so I can. Oh, let's get it focused. Very nice. Very nice. That's what they look like on the inside. No location pins really. Apart from that might be. Okay. We have the clear parts, which is the first time I've opened. Because these parts are a fragile sprue. The canopy is probably a bit more of an accurate size, a lot wider than the Novo one, which I built. Oh. Also it has a weird texture, like it's been rained on. Oh. Let me just take it off camera to look. It's a bit strange. We have landing light. Oh. One's fallen off in the bag. So be careful if you buy this. Seems like all the bits are rather fragile. Well, are on fragile sprues. So if you do purchase this kit, make sure you check that all clear parts are in the bag. Okay. Last part of this part of the review is the engine and some of the other resin parts. Wow, that's the first resin engine. Now that centre part, the core of it, is also part you need to keep. I've never done resin. Be careful when sanding, very toxic. Resin dust. I think all of these small lines are part, all these small parts are for the engine. Have an exhaust, and whatever that bit is. We have same thing again. If you don't know, the Blackburn skua only has one exhaust. And there's another one. Obviously Mark 1 and Mark 2 variants probably differ in exhausts, I guess. We have this intake. These two tyres. They're good. Whoops. I dropped it. And these small bits. One's a hook for the arrestor hook. The rest, I'm not sure about. So you get 4 resin sprues, as I would call them. They're not really sprues. They're sort of on a plaque, or like a little strip. Now let's get those moved out of the way, because next segment, the decals and the photo etch. I think I've opened these before. Let me just take it off camera so I can open it without a pole being in my face. Okay, in this third bag, or in the second well, third or fourth bag, the third mini bag, turn it around the right way. You have this part for the panel. We have this B, which I'm not sure what that's for. That's for the panel. Just try to get lined up. That's what it will look like with the panel. Not too bad. Never sort of done that before. We have etched seat belts. Wherever these long strips are, have the control panel. We have these other parts which also look like instruments. We have this little parts down here. Not sure. That goes on the engine. I'm not sure what the rest of this is. We're going to have to look at the instructions to find out. And that would be in the box. So let's get the box back out. Flip it over. It's got all the information on it, so rather full. Let's see. We have the screw map. Always good. So it's always good to have a screw map. It just tells you what bits are missing. Just in case. Now this isn't stapled together, unfortunately. So step one. Let's see. So this is for the rear gunner, or the rear position. So you put on the seat belts, what might be a fire extinguisher, and then you put the seat together, and it tells you to put the fuel tanks together, and then put seat belts on the front seat. It tells you to assemble the front of the cockpit, add some of the drums, and add some other parts down here. Pro photo etch. You add the pedals and a few other parts. You assemble the front half, all of that together. Then we do the fuel tanks. Yeah. Then we add the instrument panel to that part of the wall. Opening it up. Let's just move this. Okay, let's see what we have on this side. So it tells us to attach the back wheel. It tells us to bend this bit. Maybe it's not even worth putting that on, you probably won't see it. And it tells us to put in the machine gun, putting the wheel back here. But I'd leave that off until later. Then we have the part that holds the gun that it sort of folds into, which goes below it. It says add the elevators. Then 2 bits of the wheel bay. It tells us to put the wing halves on. Then it says assemble the engine covers, and that is the most confusing part. I don't know how to do this. I can't really guide you guys. This is the most confusing part, which is the engine. They don't really give you, apart from this, which isn't very clear, doesn't really give you a full thing of what the engine looks like. I think you have to put these parts, which are all in resin, into the holes, and then put that, you have to bend it out a bit. I'm not sure how you get the right way up. So there's these 2 parts, which PUR is resin, I believe, and then L is photo etch. And it says attach the canopy, add a few bits here, 1 bit of resin, bit of film, looks like another bit of photo etch, and something of sprucey. And then CP3, which is clear parts. Then you have the engine, and then you have this frontal diagram just to make sure your aircraft looks like it's staying up correctly. Oh, and then we have some bits here, which is just for all the small external parts, such as the landing gear, which is optional of course. We have the exhaust, which is in resin, and the intake, which is also in resin. We have the bottom throwing arm, which we put some photo etch on. We get the hook, part of it is resin. We put the resin wheels on. We get this pitot tube, I believe. That's what that is. Tells you to rig it, or how to rig it, which is helpful if you want to do the radio antenna, which I'm not going to. Then we have the prop and the cone, and then we have some small parts in photo etch. The last thing is the three colours, which are all very similar, so I'll explain the differences. I always hate when the colour schemes in the kit are so identical, you just wonder why you even bothered. So, first colour scheme here is probably the one I'm doing. It has these yellow, well, the four colour roundel, which you have to put in the centres yourself. Oh yeah, we haven't looked at the decals. So that's how you do the camo. You have these three coloured roundels here, and then it's grey underneath with a white wing, which the white starts somewhere after where the wing fold is. And then we have this full black wing. We have this down here. Tells you to paint the front ring copper of the engine. So you have sky grey, which is for the underside. We have white for the wing. And just check. Looks like for most of the fuselage, it's also white. I can't really tell if it's saying it's white, but I assume the fuselage is. Then you have dark slate grey is the green, and then mixed grey is the grey colour, and then matte black for the wing. And we have this one, which has the three colour roundels everywhere. There's a little information at the top, if you want to read that. I think you should be able to read it. This one also is nice, having the two coloured roundels, and then the three colour roundels on the side. I know they have like names like the A roundel, the A-type roundel, B-type, but I'm not sure which one's which, so I'm not going to spread misinformation. Last but not least is the decals. The film is stuck on. We have the registries all across. We have these tail fins, which are only for Scheme A. These are for Scheme A, Scheme B, and C, and Scheme A and B. These are for Scheme A. These are for Scheme C. And then we have all of the stencils. And we got a few stencils down here. We also have these central dots for all the different types of roundels. They look a bit clear, the yellow looks a bit more green, so maybe you want to base them or paint them on yourself. Reminds me a lot of the Azure decals, so watch out when you paint this. So, what do I think of this? Well, it's a good kit. You get a lot. You get for £20, or at least from Hannets, you get photo etch resin and a detailed kit. The only problem I would say is that there's no other sort of option, which I'm always annoyed about with kits with resin. They usually don't have a plastic one, so the problem is if you're not good with resin or you don't want to, well, there's no other option for the engine and for lots of important parts. The instructions also aren't stapled like old Revell, like sugar paper ones. And the clear sprue is really, really fragile. So they're my complaints. The positives are it's really detailed and you get good value. It's a nice box art as well, so maybe you want to display this. And the instructions are semi-clear. So this is to go with my special hobby, Fairy Barracuda. I actually sort of fell in love with both aircraft at a similar time, so I'm glad to have both special hobby kits now in my collection. So, we should see you soon. I've got a whippet next to me, and that should be on the bench at some point soon. So see you in the next review. Goodbye for now.